I'm Lauren D'Elia. I'm a vocal producer and engineer based here in LA. Got my start in New York, moved here about 10 years ago, and I work with a lot of people that I love.
Can you name some credits of like biggest credits?
Yeah, I would say Kaytranada is kind of my main guy. I've done pretty much the vocal production for all of his stuff since his first album. And then I would say another big kahuna is Madonna.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I met her in 2018 for her album called Madam X. And then she asked me to join her to do the vocal production on her tour after that. And then last year I just got off of her celebration tour, which was a kind of a celebration of the last 40 years of her music. So
you record her on tour in the bus, or?
I help with her vocal effects on tour, so on stage. Yeah.
I always wondering, I know a bunch of engineers, obviously, right? And there are live engineers who's doing like actual stuff, right?
Yeah.
But there are like regular engineers, like you and I don't know, Samantha or anyone.
Studio engineers.
Studio engineers, yeah. And they still with the artist like on the go. What are you doing there?
Yeah. Well, for that tour in particular, it spanned 40 years of music. So what we were doing was going through each song and changing the vocal flavor that was on her mic to match the vocal flavor of the original songs.
For live performance.
Different vocal chain for each song, yeah, for the vocal performance. So I worked with another engineer named Carl Golembeski. He does a bunch with Beyonce as well, her live stuff. And yeah, that's kind of what I was doing on that tour. I was kind of doing in the live world what I do for her in the studio. So just kind of like get her vocal flavor right.
Dive in with Ivan.
Hey guys, just want to let you know that I interviewed more than 50 people, and I collected all the secret sauce and made a PDF file. You should check it out, actually.
I'm gonna check that out.
So check the link below. It's absolutely free. Get your secret sauce.
Dive in with Ivan.
What actually a vocal producer does? Like, can you break down what's the job?
Totally.
Yeah. What's the difference between like regular engineer, recording engineer, and vocal producer?
Yeah. Well, it varies based on what your client artist needs from you. So a lot of times like vocal production will be, as I'm engineering, kind of giving some vocal coaching, suggestions on the performance, maybe suggestions on how we're going to stack the vocals, like harmonies, stuff like that. It could get very in depth, and then some of it is also on the back end of things. So it's after you've recorded, it's all the editing you're doing, all the kind of like vocal line, melodyne, and then all the kind of like creative flavor that you could add to it. So with Kaytranada, for example, it's a different artist we're with for almost every different song. So my job there is to run the session, get the vocals, and then after the fact, it's cool because he really gives me free rein on what the vocal kind of flavor and atmosphere is for the album. So a lot of times it'll be like making those decisions as well. And for an artist like him, what's so cool about that is that you're able to give
Is he singing as well?
Yeah.
He's singing, right?
Yeah. On one song on this latest album called Stepped On, he's singing. I've been encouraging him like as much as possible to get in the booth because he just has an ear for his shit that like nobody else can, and his pocket. It's like he'll make a beat and obviously it's like as the producer, he'll know like what should go on it. Most of the time, the artists that we're working with like hit the nail on the head as far as like what he hears for that song. But I encourage him to get into the booth and kind of try his own shit on there too. And so there's the one song on the latest album, and then we have a whole vault of other ones he's sang on. So we'll see if he wants to release those.
He's one of my favorite artists, like all the time.
Wow.
I used to be a DJ for 10, 12 years, right? And I've been playing his stuff for pre-parties,
Cool.
It's like amazing music. And can you describe him as a person? Like how's the vibes going? Like, how's to be an engineer of Kaytranada in general?
Yeah. Well, he is, I mean, you've seen his live shows, so you could tell he is, on one hand, the life of the party. So he's really holding court in these sessions and getting to, like, just kind of like getting the right vibe for the session. But at the same time, he's also a little bit shy sometimes. So getting him warmed up.
Do you feel pressure when you working with him?
Not anymore. No. I mean, when I first started working with him, I was a fan of his shit. So, like, I was a huge fan of his first album, 99.9%. But yeah, I mean, like, we met in a really crazy kind of random circumstance.
How you met him?
Yeah, I was just, when I first moved here, I was just a fill-in engineer at Pulse, which is a publishing company, and they have a studio in Silver Lake. And one of my friends was an A&R there, and I kind of moved here as a leap of faith. I didn't have anything like really lined up. So when I moved here, my friend Steven at Pulse was like, we need an engineer every now and then, like who could do these like late night sessions, or like when our normal guy is like, you know, on call doing something else. So I started working there, doing that, and like one of the very first sessions was Kaytranada. It was with him and a rapper named Buddy, who we ended up doing like a whole EP together, and they've gone on to do a bunch of shit together. But yeah, we met that one time, and literally like we worked so well together that I just became his person after that.
Do you remember your first session with Kaytranada? Like, what did you feel?
Nervous, probably. Yeah, I definitely remember feeling like I need to impress this guy. You know, I remember being like, this session has to go well. I want to work with him a lot, and it went well, and now I work with him a lot.
How long have you been engineer before that session? You know?
Oh, a while. Like I started in New York in 2010, I would say. I started working at Baines' studio, who you know. I was his first intern ever in a studio in Soho, New York, called Crosby Collective. Started there as an intern, and then I kind of like moved just quickly up through the ranks in New York, working with different, mostly like female vocalists or rappers. So I kind of like learned how to be quick in sessions, and also like I was kind of like finding my niche as far as being like the person to be like artist's right hand. Like I really liked that part, being like the trusted person in the room with, especially like a female artist. I think they really took to kind of like just at the time, like there was, I mean, it's amazing because there's more now, but at the time, like I was kind of like the only female engineer I knew of. So I was getting a lot of calls just like simply because of that kind of vibe I feel like I was able to bring.
In New York, right?
In New York. And then, yeah, so I was in New York for like 7 years doing that. And then I moved here in I have my years wrong actually. I moved here in 2014. Yeah, so I was working in New York, I would say 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
So how long have you been working in the music industry in general?
Like 15 years now at
Oh
this
my
point.
God.
Yeah.
So let's just start over. Like, what was I want to deconstruct your story in general and from the start, and so our audience can learn like step by step guide. Like, can you tell us like how you started? Like, you learned at school or I don't know, college for engineering?
No, I didn't actually. I grew up like playing different instruments, eventually like making beats and stuff on like this keyboard.
You make beats as well? Right now?
For fun.
Okay.
Yeah, just for like, honestly, just for this.
Never give up.
Of it all.
Never give up.
No, it's definitely not. It's just that I kind of keep it to myself just as a pure form of expression, more so. But yeah, no, I started kind of like that, making beats. When I was like 14, I Googled like, what's the software that professionals use? And obviously like Pro Tools came up. So like that Christmas I asked for Pro Tools and
you start making beats in Pro Tools?
Yeah, like
that's
what?
Crazy.
Yeah, like taught myself Pro Tools, obviously like not doing most things exactly correctly or like how I do them now, but it was my first software. Still is my software. was loving that, was songwriting, moved to New York for school on a totally unrelated major because my parents really wanted me to have kind of like the plan B, which I won't fault them with because it enabled me to move to New York. And with that move, I knew that what I wanted to do was look for an internship at a studio because I knew that that was probably the way I was going to learn shit. Went on Craigslist, found an ad saying, we're a 22-year-old and 23-year-old guy. We just opened a studio in Soho, and we're looking for interns.
Nice place, right?
Yeah, very nice place. And that was Baines and Mike Bryan. And I was their first intern. You know, I started by like most people do, like getting coffees, like cleaning toilets, like all that. Classic stuff. But because it was such a small studio and because the guys were very like new school, I was able to hop in the engineer chair like pretty much as soon as Baines felt like I was ready with certain clients and stuff like that. And the whole time I was kind of just shadowing him and watching him and seeing the workflow. Like, I'm a big advocate that, like, obviously school is great and you learn a lot when you go to school for this, but you're going to learn the most when you're in a studio watching a professional like do what they do. You know what I mean? So that was my education. And yeah, just kind of after maybe 6 months or a year being an intern, I was able to like hop in the chair and start doing sessions. And a lot of those sessions, like I said, were hip hop sessions or female singers. So Diana Gordon at the time was a big client there. I was working with her a lot, a bunch of other really amazing people. It kind of became a bit of like a hot spot for like R&B and hip hop at the time, that little studio. So we had some great times. And then in 2014, I decided to move to LA because just like a lot of New Yorkers, a lot of my friends in music were moving out here at the time. I was kind of like one of the last ones to hold out. I really wanted to stay in New York, but kind of knew that the next step was to move out here and just kind of like open my circle. And that's when I moved here, and that's when I got that.
When you moved here?
2014.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's when I moved here, and that's when I got that fill-in job at Pulse. That's when I met Kaytranada, and I also, through that, met my friend Stara, who's a big songwriter. And through her, that's how I met Madonna and Mike Dean and all these different people that I continue to work with.
You still
now.
working with Mike Dean?
Every now and then, mostly when it's Madonna stuff that comes up.
Okay.
Yeah, so he and I have worked pretty closely on her stuff together. He's his shit.
He's always hating on my comments.
He is?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Like commenting to other commenters?
No, just run everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Tough love. Tough love.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him on my interview.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he'd love you, actually, in person.
I met him once.
Okay.
I met him once, like, asked him, like, can we do a quick interview? And he showed to one of his producers and give producer's number, but this guy is not answering.
Oh.
Dive in with Ivan.
Where are you from originally?
Connecticut.
Connecticut,
Yeah.
okay. So you moved to bigger city where was some opportunities.
Yeah.
And you just find the first big studio, kind of, right? First opportunity, and you stayed as intern there for like as long as possible, and get your experience, learn stuff. And once you already become like a skilled professional, confident engineer, you just move to another step. So it's like a ladder.
Totally.
Yeah, and then you moved here, find another spot, source of power, right? Start interning there, right? Or you start working already?
Working.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You start working there.
Yeah.
And stayed as long as possible, and then you got some opportunities on the table. You shoot your shot and make your best.
Yeah.
And since then,
And
it's
stuck with the artists that I made connections with. I think that's a big thing too, is just like putting yourself into a spot where you have the opportunity to meet like-minded people and meet people who can become longtime collaborators, you know, like through your hard work and through just kind of being a good vibe in the room. honestly, like that's 50% of it sometimes. It's just like your vibe in the room with the artist.
Yeah, I think like the bar is so low to become an engineer nowadays. The first of all, you just not to be a dick, right?
Yeah.
You just
Rule number one.
rule it's just like 101, right?
Yeah.
So even you might be the most skilled person in the room, but if you are a dick, like nobody will hire you.
Yeah.
So you better be a just nice person.
Yeah.
And artists might be ended up you're gonna be with artists for like almost every day, 24/7, something like that. So artists would rather prefer the personality over the skills, right?
It's so true.
So-
And then if you could have both, that's awesome. And I always say like it's your skill that gets you in the room and it's your vibe that keeps you there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So would you get some advices for upcoming engineers, producers who just started, and living somewhere overseas or I don't know, anywhere?
Yeah.
What kind of advice could you give those people?
My biggest piece of advice for people just starting out is always kind of the same thing. It's to network across and not up. And what I mean by that is I feel like when people are first starting out, they think that the way to get ahead or like the way to get that big placement or that big client is to be kind of like reaching out to people who they feel are like way further than them in the game and like, oh, like if I just am able to work with this person, like then I'll be successful or like, and it just doesn't work like that. Like it's so much better to network across to the people who are like in the same kind of space as you and in the same spot in their career as you and doing different things, because the one thing I've learned like through just staying in the game and being in the game is truly just it's the people who stick around. Like you rise almost like as a class, like freshman class, sophomore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I still see all the same people around that I saw 10 years ago. Like it's like we're all in the same graduating class. Yeah. So it's like if you're kind of you have to just be patient, because it's like if you just make those organic connections.
Don't be a dick, be patient.
Don't be a dick, be patient.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, that's great. But yeah, that's like my main advice, and you all rise together. If you stay in the game, if you're doing good shit, if you have a good vibe and you're not a dick, like it will happen. And you just have to stick in there and not be reaching. Yeah.
Dive in with Ivan.
Let's just play kind of the game. What if the person, for example, living somewhere in Germany, right? And he is an engineer or she's an engineer, doesn't matter. And they want to work with, I don't know, name me any artist that come to your mind.
Victoria Monét.
Victoria Monét, okay. If that person were you, what would you do, step by step?
Step by step. Okay, and I'm in Germany. I would. Damn.
Keep in mind that you have to have money for visa.
Well, right.
Everything.
That
just keep in.
is a lot of
yeah.
stuff I don't even know about
Okay.
as far as how hard that process is,
That
because I know
just-
that
okay.
process is hard. But I think I would, like I said, start seeing what artists are around me that are local artists that are kind of like making waves but not too big yet. I'd hit them up. I'd say, let's have a session together. Let me show you what I could do. Have a great vocal session.
Like
with
DMing,
them.
cold DM.
You could, yeah. Like I said, like if you're not like really reaching for like somebody crazy who you know is gonna like never see your DM, I think a cold DM is totally cool. I think that's how a lot of people actually meet these days, artists and stuff. So I would do that. I would like kind of build my community there. I would start like just getting credits and getting like songs under my belt. I would start taking trips to the U.S. to work
Nice.
and work with literally whoever would work with me in LA. And shit, I mean, like I said, it's a patience thing. So I would just like keep doing that until I start working with maybe some producers that have worked with her, songwriters that have worked with her. Okay, see where I'm going with this? So that's really those are the connections you need to be making anyways, with the producers, with the writers, because these are the ones who then get a session with Victoria, right? And maybe her engineer isn't there that day, or maybe I'm not there that day. And you say, listen, if you're gonna get if your song's getting cut by Victoria and her engineer's not there, or like whatever the stars that have to align happen, eventually they'll happen, you know what I mean? So yeah, I guess that would be my kind of game plan.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Dive in with Ivan.
So what's your secret sauce?
My secret sauce is speed.
Speed?
Yeah, I think that it's one of the most important. It's one of the first things I was ever taught by Baines, is to be fast. And he used to like give me these drills where it would be like, do this in this amount of time or whatever, as far as like tracking and then editing as you're tracking, and I damn near mix as I'm tracking an artist, and just I say speed because what a lot of engineers I feel like are unaware of, because they've never been they haven't been on the other side of the booth, is that 1 minute in the control room feels like 10 minutes to the artist waiting in the booth for you to do something.
Yes.
And an idea could be gone like that. You know what I mean? And it's our job to capture all the ideas that are happening in the room and to make it feel to the artists that there's not even anything technical happening. So that's why I say speed, because it's how you're able to continue extracting all the ideas from the artist and the performance without any kind of hitch in the process.
Can you describe how is working with Madonna in general? Like how she's a person? She's like probably the #1 legend like
Icon.
this. Icon, yeah.
Totally.
Like Michael Jackson,
Yes.
the same.
Yeah, she is peerless at this point. Like there's really like nobody as iconic, I feel like, in her space. And I love her so much. Like she, to me, has just really, from the moment I met her, we had a great, like really great working
Like this,
rapport. Really like that. She's opened the door a ton for me as far as introducing me to other producers like Mike, so many other people. And just to work with, it's actually really fun to work with her because she's very fast. And I like to be very fast. So we can cut a song in a half an hour sometimes.
Oh, nice.
Hour, like, I don't know. And then sometimes it's like a much longer process because she likes to really get into the nitty gritty of it too. So all the sessions are different with her. But yeah, working with her just as a human being is awesome. I feel like every time I'm with her, I get a like cultural lesson of some kind, or like she's telling me about some book I should read or some gallery I should go see, or some
Top 5
movie.
books by Madonna.
Oh, well, with her, it's going to be like anything about or by Frida Kahlo. So I've read a lot about like Frida's journey. It's hard to come up with more on the spot, but I definitely was given a syllabus, basically. Like when I first met her, she was like, you have to read this, or that. But yeah, that's what I would say. She's awesome. She's pushed me creatively and like professionally in all the best ways. Yeah, it's a beautiful challenge. You know what I mean? Working with someone like that.
How like the story became, how you met her?
So again, I was working at Pulse and I met a songwriter named Stara who is responsible for like so many hits by like Rihanna, Beyonce, like
Nice.
you kind of name it. And we were friends at the time. I was like working on like a lot of the vocal production on her own artist stuff at the time. And she was like just pulling me into a lot of sessions in general. And like one day I get a call from her and she was like, I have these sessions with Madonna next week in London and it's just a week. Would you come with me? And I was like, yeah, definitely. And at the time I thought I was just going to be engineering for Stara, like as she was writing for Madonna more so. And that was the case, but like in those sessions where Starr was writing the songs, like Madonna would be like, okay, I'll get in the booth. I want to go do it. So that week we cut like 2 songs that ended up making her album. Like totally finished them. And I thought that was it. I was like, okay, crossed it off my bucket list. Like I've worked with fucking Madonna. And then like maybe 2 weeks later, I got a call to go out to Lisbon with her for a couple weeks to work again. And it was just me that time.
Why they like to record overseas? What's the point?
I don't know. With her, it's just the vibe. Like at the time she had a house in Lisbon and she was spending a lot of time there because like her son was involved in soccer there. So she had a house there for a while and I think she just liked the vibe too. And also like that album in particular was like heavily influenced by the music of Portugal and like different artists there and just like the genre of fado. So I think that had a lot to do with it. And London, I think she just really likes London. She has a house there too. So I love London. So yeah, when I work with her, it's usually in those places or New York. But anyway, yeah, so from then on, I just kept getting called every couple of weeks to some different location to record. And eventually we had an album. And yeah, the rest is kind of history with that.
Dive in with Ivan.
Where we can find you?
You could find me like socials.
Yeah.
You could find me on Instagram.
My number is.
Yeah, you could text me. No, I'm not really on TikTok. I'm really only on TikTok as a lurker at the moment. But yeah, you could find me on Instagram at
okay.
Lauren D'Elia. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dive in with Ivan.